Welcome. This is the first part of a two-part series on the proposed upgrade to Central Fire Station. With me today, Fire Chief Darren O'Brien and Battalion Chief Kevin Zins.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the overview of Central Fire Station. As you know, we're hoping to propose a warrant article for the renovations and expansion of this facility for this upcoming warrant article. I'm Chief O'Brien, Fire Chief of the Londonderry Fire Department. With me is Battalion Chief Kevin Zins. He's our Facilities Maintenance Director. And I'd like to just give you a little walkthrough of our Central Fire Station and show you what we're faced with and some of the challenges that we have. And any questions along the way, please feel free to ask.
Okay, let's go over a little history first. This building was built in 1978 for a total cost of $150,000. The day it opened, it was estimated to be worth $450,000. And I think it's important to note that this building was built. The Army Corps of Engineers did the site work. A lot of the firefighters built the building, contractors, members of the public. There was quite a lot of donations that went into this building, but as you can see, 1978 is a long time ago, and we do need to do some upgrades. So wherever you would like to start, gentlemen, we will do that.
Okay. Well, you're in our front lobby right now. Back when the station was built, this area here that you're seeing and that we're in right now used to be our main communications center. That has since moved into where you see Dispatcher Johnson in there right now. So over the years, since 1978, we've tried to utilize the space as best as we can. We have since taken and remodeled this area to make more of a lobby for visitors when they come in for gaining permits and getting information for fire codes and different things like that. I'm going to take you for a little bit of a walkthrough here now. This here, as you see, this is currently our battalion chief's office. There's 4 battalion chiefs on duty, and this originally back in 1978, this was set up as the fire chief's office. So as you can see, this time of year we have to put a space heater in here. Over this last cold snap that we had over the last week or so, this room here, we couldn't get it above 55 degrees. So it was kind of cold, but we make do because that's what firefighters do.
Okay, I have a question for you on this layout here. With this layout you have here, do you have any concerns with Homeland Security issues?
Well, over the years we've gotten a couple of grants, and these grants were able to provide us with these door security locks. But with the way that Homeland Security is set up now, our communications facility doesn't meet the standard. People can still enter in the public without being buzzed in, certain times of the day, and part of what we're doing here is to make our communications center with this new facility NFPA compliant. So with all the right security equipment, with the right type of building construction, with its own amenities for heating, air conditioning, toiletries, and cooking facilities.
So what does NFPA mean, and why do you want to meet that standard?
Well, recently we signed on with another community. We are now dispatching for 3 communities, Londonderry, Hampstead, and the town of Pelham. And I think with our facility that we're looking to establish here, with being able to get the more dispatching stations, I think you can see Londonderry moving to the future, becoming probably a regional dispatch center.
Sounds good. And what benefit do you gain by meeting NFPA standards?
Kevin?
Well, the NFPA standard was designed, and there are a set of standards that are put out so that when facilities are built, they meet the needs of the community for long periods of time, and they meet certain minimums in order to provide security, longevity, reliability for that equipment. So some of the things that the standard are going to make us attend to are emergency power generators, redundancy in heating and cooling, so that facility can stay open 24/7, 365 without interruption, whether it's from maintenance or some kind of natural disaster that takes a certain part of the infrastructure out. There's redundancy to make sure that sstays open and available. So that's part of the NFPA standard that we're looking to do so that we have a good, long-term, reliable product to give to the community.
So a lot of what you have proposed for the new building will be security and for emergency management and homeland security purposes.
Yes, yep, we're looking to build a room in the back that's going to support training as well as an EOC center for the community, so that if we have a long-term disaster or need in the community, we can open up that center and be able to provide resources and things to other agencies as well, and coordinate all our efforts to getting things mediated.
So what does EOC mean?
Emergency Operations Center.
Okay, and that's something pretty much every community should have.
Yes.
One that's built correctly.
Yep,
If
one
I'm
that's
not
built correctly.
mistaken.
There needs to be redundancy for that. The PD has one that they can use, and this would be a backup, or this would be a primary, and they could be a backup, so that no matter what happens, we have a facility that we can go to, and the other agencies can all collect and share resources and coordinate their efforts, so that we're not duplicating efforts to try to mitigate.
So basically, as we're walking through Central Station here now, as you see right to your right here, this is currently the only public restroom we have, and unfortunately what happens here is we have to let people into the secured area in order to use the restroom facility. So this over the years has also been modified to install a shower right to the right here. This room currently didn't have a shower, so it's a public slash woman's restroom. And as you walk down further this way here, this is the men's room, and again, a shower stall in here, which we took part of this space to make the shower stall for the other restroom on the other side. This part of this facility really hasn't changed that much over the years.
One of the things we're hoping to correct too with facilities is put in a decon room, because currently if we do have a fire or guys get contaminated things, they have to enter into this part of the building in order to shower, decontaminate, and get themselves cleaned up so that they're ready to go and serve the public again. So that's one of the things that we're looking to do. These are the only real shower facilities. That there is one shower upstairs, but you have to travel through the living space to get to it from the contaminated area, or from an area that potentially is contaminated. Or
So that decon area would be completely separate from your living quarters?
yes,
So
yeah,
you
to be on the
wouldn't risk
first
bringing
floor.
contaminants into a living area?
Yeah, we're hoping to put a decontamination area right off the bay, so when guys get off the trucks, or whether it's an ambulance or a fire truck, and need to get deconned or cleaned up, they can do so without entering the rest of the building, and keep all our contaminants close and confined, controlled.
And you're talking basically about hazardous materials, chemicals?
Yeah, we get exposed to lots of things. It could be whether it's a biological hazard, a hazmat, products of combustion from going to a fire and getting carcinogens and stuff on our clothing and on our body. All of those things are contaminants that we don't want to bring home, or that we don't want to have long-term effects for our firefighters. So we're looking to try to mitigate those as quickly as we can, and keep them out of the rest of the living space and operations and administration spaces of the.
Okay, so now we're in our communication center. Dispatcher Johnson is on duty today, and what we have set up here is we have two workstations, two redundant systems.
So you had mentioned, Kevin, that it gets very cold. It was like 50 degrees in the battalion chief's office. Could you go over whether the heating system is sufficient or not? And I'll ask Jerry, would you like to comment, Jerry, on...
During the nighttime, we usually have this window open for customers, and it's very cold out in the lobby. So a lot of times we have to close the window here and the door here, and we have a little heater on the floor underneath, just to keep the dispatch area somewhat comfortable.
Now, did you mention that somebody actually measured temperatures in here?
One of the battalion chiefs measured especially out in the lobby in the BC's office. They had a thermometer. It was 50 degrees, and they even had a portable heater in the battalion chief's office.
Okay. So that's one of the reasons also why you really need a new facility is your heating system is not adequate for this building?
Right, the heating and cooling system for the building was put in about 15 years ago now. And it was a makeshift conversion from the original forced hot water that was in the building. And when they did that, obviously we're working within the constraints of the building, and in order to flow enough air, all the ductwork that was put in was inadequate or insufficient. It just doesn't push enough air to make the building warm in the winter and cooler in the summer. We do use supplemental electric heaters and portable air conditioners in the windows in order to try to make the space workable and livable when we're working. It can't flow enough air from one end of the building to the other to make it comfortable.
Okay, so what you're seeing back here, this is behind the dispatch center and underneath the stairway, basically a closet, but this is where all the infrastructure for the communication center is. So your radios, your computers, your phone lines, and as you can see, it's just the space that we utilized that was open, that was able to house some of the equipment that is needed to run this facility. Once we get upstairs, I'll show you the other components that make this all function and work.
Okay, so we're back in the main dispatch area. Could you go over the difference between what you have here and what's proposed in the new facility?
So again, what you're seeing here is it's basically it's a small space that we have one individual working in here now, sometimes two. The new facility, again, it's going to have its own kitchenette. It's going to have its own space for sitting. It's going to have 4 stations for 4 different dispatchers, and all the infrastructure to support that.
Okay, and what's the benefit of dispatching for other communities? Is there any financial benefit for the town?
Oh, absolutely there is. As of right now, with the 2 communities that we've signed on with, over the next course of 5 years, we're collecting over $500,000.
So I don't think a lot of members of the public realize just how much, I hate to use the word revenue, but that's exactly what it winds up being, that you get not only from dispatching for other communities, offsetting your own costs, capital costs and operating costs, but you also bring in a large amount of money from your ambulance service as well. So I don't think a lot of people realize just the amount of revenue that the fire department brings in every year. Start with last year.
So last year the fire department brought in over $600,000 for ambulance revenue, and an additional $50,000 in dispatching services to the town of Hampstead. So what we're looking for here is, I think we have qualified personnel. All our personnel are EMD certified, so other communities are seeing what our services is here that we're providing, and we're having more and more reach out to us as time goes on. So I foresee this blossoming in the future, and this is just a stepping stone to get where we want to be.
So what is EMD?
Emergency medical dispatch.
And what's
So
the benefit of having your dispatchers certified in EMD?
So basically, if somebody calls 911 or calls the fire department emergency number, our dispatchers can give them hands-on, basically medical instruction on what to do with their patient until the crews arrive to mitigate the emergency.
So basically they have the same certification that the 911 operators have.
Correct.
That sounds great to me.
So here we are in the what we call the day room kitchen facility. This has been the same for many, many years, basically ever since 1978. So as you can see, it's just basically a residential kitchen, sink, dishwasher, oven. One of the firefighters made our dining room table here, and then this is where the crews are able to, between emergencies, if they, after hours, if they want to come and just take a load off and just sit down and kind of recoup a little bit, this is where they spend most of their time.
So we cook our group meals and have our evening meals and daytime meals. The facility, it's kind of cramped because this is the main thoroughfare through the building too, so anybody that comes in has to wiggle their way around the kitchen table.
Okay, so what would be the difference between what this is now and what you're proposing?
The new proposal is for more of a commercial kitchen. So we're going to have reliable, good products. I mean, I think we're on our 4th stove, our 18th refrigerator, just because it's more residential. So we're looking to go with more commercial equipment that'll be more reliable, bigger. We can't get all the food in that guys bring in for 2 days in one refrigerator because we're hauling stuff in and out all the time. The eating area will be separate from the cooking area, so we can cook our meals. When we have big disasters, whether it's another ice storm or something that requires us to bring in additional personnel, we need to feed them all. If we're really busy, we'd use that facility to cook meals for the whole department and any of the guys that are working, so we can cycle them through and get them fed. A separate dining area so that they can sit down and eat without bumping into slide over so I can open the stove to get something out of it, as well as a day room that's separated so that guys can go in where it's quiet if they need to do something or study or whatever, and guys that are going to be sitting at the table can work at the table and finish reports or whatever, and get them done and have some separation.
Okay, I remember in the past too, during some of the major storms we've had, we've not only fed the firefighters, but incidents that go over several days, we also fed the police department and public works as well.
Yep. Yeah,
And a commercial facility, you'd be able to do that.
yeah. I mean, it's not going to be huge, but it's going to have a bigger stove than we have. That's a commercial version. We're expecting to have a couple of refrigerators that are more of a commercial size that will hold enough product and food for us to do that, as well as being able to cycle everybody through.
Okay, so where we are now, this is the department's training room. This is our main training room. Neither one of the substations are set up that those have training facilities there. So back in 1978, this was our dormitory. There was 4 or 5 beds in here, and this is where the crews slept. Since then, it's been converted into our training room that crews on a weekly basis going through continuing education for emergency medical services. We have department gatherings here where we'll bring the state down to teach certain topics to us, and this is it. This is our training facility. As you can see, it houses about maybe 15 people. So when we try and get more in here, it gets a little crammed. The air quality in here gets a little poor, so we usually have to open the bay door to let some fresh air in. And to the rear of the facility, as you'll see, a couple of workstations there. So when our paramedics come back after a medical call and they have to do their state TEMSIS reports, that's where they enter all those reports back there at those 2 workstations.
So I don't think a lot of people also understand that once you become a firefighter, that's not the end of your education.
Definitely not, especially in today's day and age. What I put in the town report this year is the fire service is forever changing. And back when I started in 1986, it might have been just putting wet stuff on the red stuff. But in today's day and age, there's so many different things that they got to know, and just a whole different environment out there.
This will give you an example of some of the renovations that have gone through in the department over the years. When we converted from baseboard heat to a dual system for HVAC, this was one of the ones. We built a closet and stuck this in. So this air handler services not only the training area, the dispatch center, but it's undersized, underutilized, and something that needs to be corrected. Doesn't provide enough airflow and capacity to take care of when we have a class. We get over 10 people in this building, it gets too hot, we can't keep it cool enough. When it's cold, it doesn't generate enough heat to warm this space either. Welcome to the Central Station's boiler room and electrical facilities. This is one of the things we're hoping to correct. You see is a small room, 2 boilers. This provides all the heat for the entire building, as well as the electrical main entrance that comes in here. There isn't enough clearance in front of the panels for proper servicing. When this building was first built, it was 1 panel at the far end of the building, and take a 200 amp service. We're currently running about a 400 amp service, and multiple panels, plus our emergency generator, transfer switches and things are in here. It's just too small a room. We've had to put in makeup air for combustion to keep the boilers working, or try to keep the boilers working, but these are some of the things that are slated to be replaced because they're going on close to 40 years old now, and just about outlived their life expectancy. Maintenance costs and stuff are going up, continually trying to keep this old school infrastructure working and running. Okay, so now we're on the 2nd floor at the Central Fire Station, and I'll walk you through what we're utilizing the space for up here. This, as you in here, this is our EMS office. So this is where all the EMS coordinators put together the training. As you can see, store equipment for training, do their reports, make out standard operating guidelines for some of the new procedures that we're faced with today. So again, a small space to basically house 4 or 5 different individuals.
As we walk through the main foyer of the second floor here, we're using this for record storage, copy machine. Fire prevention is in here. So this is the Division Chief of Fire Prevention, responsible for all the inspections, code enforcement. He shares this office with the 2 lieutenants. You can see their workstations over there. They come up and do their incident reports after mitigating an emergency. So Brian utilizes this space here again to collect the phone calls, answer the questions, code enforcement, life safety regulations. And also you can see this is where we're doing our plans review right now. So when Brian gets a set of plans, he has to go through all the sprinkler connections, the piping, areas for smoke detectors, means of egress, basically to see if fire trucks can fit in and out. That's all done in this facility right here. Okay, so this is the fire chief's office. Space is utilized very well. As you can see, it's a little cold in here. This northwest corner of the building has been cold ever since day one, but the facility itself is fine. The space is utilized very well. As you go out the hallway here, second floor restroom. It's been the same, I think, since 1978. Yeah. And what we did is this next space here that you're seeing between this door and this door, this was one big office. We've this up back about probably 3 or 4 years ago to be able to put in a residential washer and dryer, so crews can take their uniforms and wash them here, so they're not taking the carcinogens and all the contaminants that collects on their uniforms home with them. And most you'll find that people are changing here at the fire station now, and then we made an additional shower facility.
So again, getting back to the new design of a decontamination facility, in order to use this, they have to go through...
You have to walk through the living space in order to get here, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Currently, this office here is housing our administrative assistant. We're responsible for payroll, billing, money collection. She hires the overtime, so basically all those duties that myself or Kevin doesn't do, this is what this person does. All right, what we're getting into now is this is the dormitory. So basically in 1978, this whole upper floor here was one big training room. Could house probably 40 different people. But since then, with the with the increase in call volume and the additional personnel that we put on, back probably, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
20 years ago, we cordoned this off up here to make these different bunk rooms, and I'll have Kevin show you through these a little bit.
So let me just take a look in this first bunk room here. This is a space where guys keep their spare equipment, not equipment, but spare uniforms and gear, their bedding, all that stuff. They keep in here. Everybody gets a small locker. Some of the things we're hoping to correct in this is to make the rooms a little bit bigger, to provide larger locker spaces. Again, the trend in the fire service is that you come in your street clothes and you go home in your street clothes, and that you leave your uniforms and everything here so that anything you're exposed to stays here at the station. Hopefully it's been cleaned up and everything through our decontamination processes, and it's not here, but just that you're not bringing home what you're exposed to at work back to your family. So this is our station storage for all our cleaning supplies and paper towels and toilet paper and the things that we need to operate and keep this as a usable facility. It's a small room. We obviously have to bring stuff in more frequently because we can't buy bulks of items in order to get the discounts that sometimes you can with bulk ordering. So this room is our EMS storage facility or storage room. This holds all the backup supplies and things we need if we can't get them recollected at the hospitals. When we transport patients, we keep a supply of EMS equipment here, as well as bandages, Band-Aids, the disposable items we need for airway management and cardiac monitoring and things through our defibrillation units. So all of that stuff is stored here, so we have backups in case we can't get it at the hospitals when we try to restock. Obviously, this is kind of cramped. It doesn't allow us to really store the equipment that we want. This room also shares our department servers and acts as our server room for the station. So the other half that the chief talked about earlier, as far as the communications area, data, intel closet, the other half of it's up here. This is where our phone system is housed, and our servers for Red Alert and 911 and dispatch equipment is here. The other part of this room here is where we store our radio equipment. This is the way it's been, the only way we've been able to do it here at this facility. The thing that's really one of the things we want to correct here is that it's not a independently conditioned space. As you can see, it's like a small closet that houses our primary communications equipment. And we're hoping to correct that in the new facility by putting it in a dedicated space that has its own conditioning and emergency power components, so that it remains reliable and available for us to communicate back and forth with the guys out in the field.
So what you're talking about doing is have a temperature control room for your electronic equipment.
Exactly. Have something that's dedicated, needs to be dedicated as far as part of the new standard, that it has its own HVAC and climate control system, so that it's maintained and not affected by any other areas in the building. As you can see, part of this communications room also houses the air handler and heating and air conditioning for the living space up here on the second floor. Again, like most of the other ones, it's undersized for the demands that the building is put on, and having it within the same space isn't appropriate in the way we'd like to see it to maintain good communications and reliability of all the individual systems. So we've just entered our apparatus bay. This is kind of the way guys come in. This is one of the things that we'd like to show you is how tight it gets in through here. We've got gear and equipment racks. One of the things that we're going to be correcting in the new facility is to have a gear room, which hopefully will open up this corridor a little bit and provide egress for guys to walk through. The yellow tubes you see hanging down from the ceiling, that's part of our exhaust gas collection system, trying to remove carcinogens that the equipment and the trucks generate when they start every day. But they also take room up that's needed just to be able to navigate around the building.
So you pretty much ran out of room to place apparatus, and that's why things are so tight here.
Exactly. We ran out of room because we have no other facility or no other areas that we can store our gear. By having it in its own room, everything's collected in the same place, as well as all the things that we're exposed to are kept in the same place. Instead of brushing by them all the time, they'd be in their own lockers and contained. They'd be cleaned through the decon area, brought back and rehung where it's appropriate.
So again, we're still in the apparatus bay. Some of the different things I want to show you in the apparatus bay, as Kevin mentioned, this is where we store everything. So the firefighters' gear is out here with the vehicles where it should be in a separate room. Over the years, we've done different modifications here. We've got a vehicle exhaust collection system that takes all the exhaust fumes and dumps them to the outside of the building. Probably within the last 12 to 15 years, we received a grant that we're able to sprinkle the whole building, and in doing so, it took our hose tower that's in the rear corner of the building and made that basically into our sprinkler room. With today's new designs of the hose and stuff like that, there's no longer the need to dry it. You can just basically, once you clean it, you can put it back on the apparatus.
How many times have you had that repaired?
The roof we probably repair at least 4 or 5 times a year on different leaks that are found.
Yeah, the roof's been deemed as being in failure for the last 3 years, but it's part of the deferred maintenance that we've been putting off in hopes of getting the station renovation done, because it'd just be a throwaway. You know, we could spend $50,000–$60,000 to repair the roof here, only hopefully to get the renovations completed at some point and have that money be spent for naught.
So So basically, if the new design gets approved by the voters, you won't have to worry about spending $20, $30, or $40,000 for a new roof.
Yeah, that issue that will be mitigated by a new roof structure and taken care of. And we've been holding off on getting it done in anticipation that this project would move forward. We didn't want to spend money, that the town has, just for it not to be wasted. Is probably the best term I can think of. Try not to waste the town's money on something that hopefully will get corrected when the station gets rebuilt.
So what we'll do is I'm going to walk you through the apparatus bay here now. And as you can see, again, we've utilized space that wasn't intended for what it was designed for. Here, this structure here was built to house the exercise equipment for firefighters. So they basically constructed this structure here to house the workout equipment, and this is where they come in to do their exercise and to stay physically fit. What we've done up above this is department storage for all our equipment. So our spare SCBAs, our spare saws, our mannequins for training. Come on upstairs and I'll show you what's up here. So as you can see, this is our storage facility for Central Fire Station. This is where we keep all of our spare equipment for if something was to break, different fittings for the hoses, the nozzles, spare extinguishers, spare rescue rope, radio maintenance equipment, bunker gear. Over there, on the top over there, you'll see a spare stretcher for the ambulance. You'll see some hazmat booms for spill containment. So this is basically the only storage we have in this facility is up here.
Yeah, some of the product up here, like I say, the booms and things are kept here because we can only carry so much on the truck. So if we do have a large incident, we can throw these in a pickup truck and be able to take and mitigate it as quickly as possible. But they all have to be stored somewhere. And this just happens to be the only little piece of ground that we have left. So we utilize it the best we can to store all our ancillary and spare equipment and supplies.
So your new design would have a dedicated, bigger storage area for all this equipment?
Yeah. There's new space that's going to be dedicated for this ancillary equipment.
So here is what you see. This is our maintenance facility. So in order for work to be done here, this piece of apparatus would have to go out because the department mechanics, all the equipment and all their tools and everything to fix everything is located in this small space right here.
So here's a good question that I'm not sure everybody knows about yet. Do you save a considerable amount of money by having your own skilled people do a lot of your maintenance work on the trucks?
Yes, we have probably 4 individuals that are in our fleet maintenance division and small equipment division. So what they do is their responsibilities are just for the general upkeep of the apparatus, your small equipment, so your rescue tools, your saws, your vent saws, your small portable equipment. That's all done in house. When it gets to something large, for vehicle inspections or anything like that, we contract with another service. Alright, so as you can see, this is our latest aerial device. This is ladder 2, and with the size of the central bay doors, as you can notice on the salt on the ground here, what we're finding is you can only get apparatus a certain size, and you'll see when this pulls in the clearance that we have between the top of the turntable and the actual top of the door. So we got to make sure that there's no ice out on the apron when the truck pulls out. Yeah, so what you see in there is you can see when the aerial backs in, we probably have about 3 inches of space that we can get the truck into the building safely without hitting something. So my concern is with the apparatus bay and the apron, if you have a large amount of snow out on the apron and it's not cleared away prior to the apparatus leaving, we could do some damage to both the equipment and the facility. Okay, here we're outside the facility, and as you can see, this is our emergency backup generator. This was received off of a Homeland Security grant probably about 8 years ago. We were able to take the existing generator, put that up to the senior center, so we can now use that when we have a weather event for either a warming or a cooling shelter. This generator will serve the new facility as well, with all the transfer switches and everything that are entailed with it.
So this existing generator, you won't have to buy one. It'll service the new facility.
Okay, so we're still out behind the facility of Central Fire, and what I have behind me here is the town's fueling station. So this fueling station not only facilitates the fire department, but it facilitates the police department, DPW, and the school department. So all town entities come to this facility to fuel up their equipment. What we're faced with here, and some of the problems that we have, is obviously this time of year, as you can see with the snow bankings and everything, is the space back here is limited. So part of the new proposal for the new Central Fire Station renovation is to make this driveway not only facilitate our current structure here, but it's also going to have a loop around entranceway and driveway that will connect over by the library. So when the police officers come in, they can come in a certain direction, fuel up, and then leave on the other direction, leave out the other direction. And it's also going to encompass basically several more parking spaces that, as you can see, that we currently have. What we did this year here is we added this lean-to structure off to the side of the fuel facility just to house our utility vehicle. I mean, this vehicle is utilized, especially during the weather that we're having now, is we put on extra personnel that will be able to take this vehicle here and go out and plow people's driveways and plow certain roads so the ambulances and the emergency apparatus can get in. But unfortunately, due to the space constraints that we have, is this vehicle is housed outside.
All right, Chief, we've completed the tour of the building. I just want to go over a few things before you go through your closing remarks. One of the things that came to mind taking a tour of the building, and the fact that you can't keep it heated properly, the air conditioning and handling system isn't the greatest in the world, and energy efficiency as well isn't great. How will that improve with the new building?
Well, with the proposed building, currently we have about 8,400 square feet of space. So with the renovations and the expansion that we're talking about, we're looking to add about another 13,000 square feet. With that 13,000 square feet comes all new mechanicals and HVAC and heating systems, and we will be sure that those heating systems are going to meet the needs of the facility and also be cost effective. So we know that the cost to operate it is going to be efficient, and it's going to have the duration or the durability that we're looking for to sustain, many years to come.
And not only that, but it comes to mind as well that your department is responsible, as well as the building department, to make sure that new structures meet codes. And I imagine that once this building is built, that it will meet the codes.
It will. Obviously, just like any other building or any other commercial or residential property that's being built in town, with the new facility, it's going to meet all the latest of code compliance. So thank you for taking the time to listen to our little spiel here on the Central Fire Station. Again, being your fire chief, I'm very honored to serve the public and the citizens of this community, and I hope you can see with the facility that we're currently faced with, firefighters do their best to make it the way that they want to make it and to make everything work out for the best. But as you can see, we're getting a little constrained for space, and trying to address some of the deficiencies we have going into the future with the call volume constantly increasing, with the number of citizens moving into the community increasing, and just trying to meet the service demands of this community. So again, thank you very much for listening to our little documentary here on the fire station, and I hope for your support on Article 2 for the warrant. Thank you.